Sorry, a little late. I did something I haven't done for a while. I got a chance to celebrate with my kid. Missed out on 22 years, so I took an extra moment to do that. And I want to publicly thank all the people that have been. I mean, we all know exactly where Steven's at in the situation and why he's here. But if you're a parent, it's just one of those times that what I was most excited about wasn't for him. I was most excited that our players and our fans cared so much about him that they made that more special for me. And, it was, it was something I'll never forget. So as far as the game goes, I was disappointed in the first half. I was disappointed by the way we were offensively. Defensively, we were very good. Defensively, we did a lot of great things. We made some crazy turnovers on those layups again, we drop-offs, and AJ had a couple again where, I don't know what's happening there because he's been playing so good. But he didn't play good the first half, and I told him that at halftime, and it wasn't an argument. It was, I kind of get it, and I thought he did a much better job the second half. And as I've always stated to all of you, when the head dies, the body follows. When the head excels, the body usually follows. And, on a day when Tyson wasn't maybe quite himself, and give some credit to Rutgers for that. He's a hell of a coach. And Jaden maybe wasn't quite got in a little foul trouble and a little frustrated. But we had some other guys, Trey Holloman. Not only did a great job, but he played a lot more minutes than he normally does. Cohen Carr made a couple of really good plays when it was critical. But Carson Cooper, if you remember coming out of that timeout when we won a 19-0 run, Monty called a nice play against the zone, and Carson had to make the screen, and Malik made the play and dunked it, and that got us going. And then he took that big charge where Jonathan Smith was in the locker room with his family after the game, and I said that was a linebacker, hit. I mean, he just stood there. That guy went 100 miles an hour from one end to the other, and he took it right in the chest. And that was a big play. And not many guys I've had that would do that. And even though I thought we fumbled a few here between him and Marty, those kind of plays are winning plays. They're effort-related plays. Tyson getting on the floor, Jackson getting on the floor. Those are effort-related plays that nobody appreciates except the coach. Effort is a skill nowadays. Effort is a skill, and we do not look at that enough. And so even though I was pleased with some guys, those effort-related things, and especially the things that Carson did today, make it special. So a lot of work to do. We're still not as consistent, but to win a game when our two best shooters didn't shoot it real well, I think speaks volumes for us too, that we won it the old-fashioned way. We defended against a very good rebounding team. We were +7 on the boards, 19 assists on 25 baskets. We only had 2 turnovers the second half. A lot of things that you hope would happen, happened. And for that, I'm grateful. And by the way, the crowd was, we're 10-7, and I'm sure there's people upset and mad and disappointed. But I'll tell you what, the zone was great. The fans up on top were great. It just kind of means something to me on the program that we built, and I appreciate that. Questions?
Tom, for most of the game, up until about 12 minutes to go, it was back and forth. Nobody had a lead bigger than 2 possessions. What do you think was the breakout point for your team to just take it to that next level?
Well, I think that 19-0 run, and I think Cooper got some big rebounds too when Omarui was in there. We changed up a couple things defensively. We got caught. They ran some good stuff early that we've never seen. And we made a couple adjustments at halftime and switched a few things, and I think that helped. But I think AJ, we just moved the ball better. We were so stagnant the first half. I don't know why. But sometimes that happens, and shooters don't make shots. I mean, I thought we had some good shots we missed. But I know this will sound stupid all year, but don't rule them out either. I mean, those two wings, Meg and and Hyatt, they're good players. And Omaru is a monster, and I think they're getting a little more out of their guards. They just, he got. I feel sorry for him. I mean, it's one thing, this crazy rules that we have to all deal with, but I think he lost two of his guys in the summer. So, one went to UConn and one went to Washington, and you lose them in the middle of the summer, you don't get to get another player. And so I feel for Steve on that. It's hard enough when you lose him in the fall, in the spring, but when you lose him in the summer, and I think those young guards are coming, but they're young. And so I think all those had a factor in it.
Tom, a week ago, Malik obviously had a tough game at Northwestern. How have you seen him in these last two games respond to that?
He's been a lot better. I mean, he looked so much more aggressive, didn't he? He was the one guy the first half that was aggressive. And he made a couple of man moves at the end. And, it's funny because I've hardly even mentioned him. And he was the best player on the floor today for us. But what I think I hardly mentioned him for is kind of expect that out of him. And so I'm really... if he could get consistent, it changes our team. I mean, and one thing I do talk about, I've done this a lot. I call it the white elephant in the room. Everybody knows our backs are against the wall a little bit. Everybody knows when we were missing all those shots at the beginning of the year, I was getting phone calls from everybody in America, emails, well, don't talk to your team too much, then they'll get nervous. I'll talk to your team more. And, all those things are, I deal with the white elephant in the room. I walk in there and say, we're not shooting very good from the free throw line. And I say it with a lot different language than that. We're not shooting very good from the three-point line. We better get our tails in there and work on it harder. I don't hide behind, it'll be okay, we'll make them, Well, I didn't hide behind this either. I mean, we all know our backs are against the wall. But in my career, my back's been against the wall more than a couple times. And sometimes you really find out about people when your backs are against the wall. And for me, it just means I'm going to work harder. I'm going to spend more time. I'm going to grind it more. And I think for them, they learned today, we weren't very good offensively. We were stagnant. We won a game defensively. We made that run. It was a 19-0 run. It really was our defense, not our offense. So I think that bolds volumes for everything. And I thought the crowd really helped us in that stretch. I mean, can't tell you what those things mean, especially to me.
Tom, you said you took a little time being the dad, congratulating your son. So let me ask you, with your coach's hat on, to evaluate a player who's been a senior, finally gets his first points, it's a three-point play, and he finishes the free throw. Just talk about that from a coaching standpoint and the guy that's been around and can kind of go out on that.
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. I was a little nervous, because I see that look in his eye, and then I hear my players yelling, shoot it, and this is, I don't even think he checked in yet. Okay, that's how much they want him to score a bucket, and I look down at them, and they just laugh at me now because they know that one time with a minute left, he's going to do what he wants to do, and he probably deserves that for all the times I wasn't able to do the things with him. So it was actually a hell of a move, He spins, threw it up there. AJ picked him up, threw him to Tyson. I think they thought he was the ball, and it was pretty cool. The way the place went crazy for him, all I could think about is I've got like 35 guys down from my old Northern Michigan teams. And I often think when I see them out there, I would have gave my right and left arm just to run through the tunnel. At a place like Michigan State, I would have, I never got a chance to do that. But you do get to Sometimes you get to live your own dreams through somebody else. And on this day, he was so damn excited that, it was made. It's actually his 5th year. He graduated in 3, and he's going to finish his master's in 2, and it's his 5th year, and I didn't know if it would ever happen because I didn't know if I'd be able to get him in again. And it'll just be something that his kids will look at. And I bet you there's a lot of people in the stands today that are going to say, hey, my son, hey, my grandson, hey, my great-grandson. If he wanted to go out and stick it out, you better find one that dad's the coach to let him on the team. But, I think they'll all have something to kind of shoot for, and that's kind of what life's all about. So it was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach, coming off these last 2 Big Ten losses, what was your message to your team, and how much does this win do for confidence in the locker room?
Well, my message is that's the white elephant in the room that I keep addressing. I just tell it like it is. I tell them, what I think we did wrong. I thought at Illinois we played a lot better. I went through, I go home, I look at film of all those games and when we lost and how we lost, and I try to bring that back to them. That, we can't have these short runs. We can't do this and that. We can't take bad shots. I thought, one thing in that 19-0, we went on about a 7-0 run, and I brought him in the huddle, and I said, now here's where, when we got up on Illinois by 6, this is what we did. Took a bad shot, had a turnover, Some people will look at that and say, why are you bringing up that stuff? Well, I am who I am, and it is who I am, and that's the elephant that's sitting in the room. And I've always been a big believer that you better address the elephant, because there's a lot of people outside addressing the elephant that have no clue, how big the elephant is. So I said it right in the huddle, and then we just kept building on it, and that was encouraging. That's a step in the right direction. Now we got a few days. Got a team like Minnesota coming in who's much improved. Ben has done a phenomenal job with them. But you know what? I'm going to enjoy tonight. I'm going to go pull for my 2 favorite teams, the Packers and, of course, the Lions. I'm going to pull hard for the Lions. I'm going to try to figure out how we're going to, as a basketball program, celebrate Martin Luther King Day. And then we're going to get back to work and see what we can do in trying to string a few games together and learn from when we strung them together before, the goods and bads of that.
Tom, you mentioned the 19-0 run, but with that, I think you guys held them without a field goal for about 7 minutes in that stretch, but then end of the first half, beginning, those are 14 minutes. That's 14 minutes of gameplay without a bucket.
Yeah.
That was an elite level performance, I thought, from your defense.
And you know what? I did too. And I don't know if we always agree, but I agree with you on that. I thought that, we keep talking about defense travels. We were pretty good defensively at Illinois. We're rebounding the ball a little better. Those are 2 of the better rebounding teams. We are rebounding both of them. So are we making progress? Yeah. Is it fast enough for me? No. But I do think that they're starting to figure out, what they got to do. And that offense is going to click again because even today, we shot 46, 48, 48 from the 3. And I thought, Jaden goes 3 for 6, and I thought he missed some wide open ones. Ty missed a couple. AJ missed a couple. So I think, we can play better, and we're going to have to play better if we're going to make a serious run.
Coach, you guys obviously were clicking on all cylinders down the stretch in the second half, but in the first half, the Rutgers defense maybe gave you guys some fits. What can you say about what they did defensively?
Well, Steve Peichel is, I said this since the day he came in the league. I think he's one of the best coaches in the league. His teams are tough. I know we're known for that. I'm not sure this team is still building on getting there, but they're like my early teams. They are physically tough, and they have big bodies, and, they're setting screens that are screens. They did a damn good job. They just missed some shots too. And So I look at him and I say, man, that's supposedly one of the lower teams in our league. Of course, so are we right now. But that team's going to give a lot of people fits, as it did Indiana, and it'll give more people fits. And if you ever played out at the rack out there, it's crazy. And but I think Peichel's a damn good coach. That's what I really like about that program, and I think he does it the right way. I really do.
Coach, what does it mean for your players to have Jackson Kohler back over these last 3 games, and how do you think that can help your team moving forward?
Well, I think, what we do is I'm excited to have Jackson back. The problem is trying to work him back in there now after 9 weeks off. And but the more tools you have in the box, I guess the better chance you have, because who knows what'll happen this week, next week, the week after. Marty brings one dimension to that position. Coop brings another one. He can guard kind of different people. And Jackson brings another one. And so what I was able to do, and we still got to get a little better at this. We got to get, either Book or Jackson sometime at the 4, and certain teams we can do that. At Illinois we wanted to, and we just couldn't do it with their lineup. We also, I think Cohen has got to play more 3 and 2 now that we got people back, and poor kid hasn't had a chance to really work on it. So we got plenty of things to work on. I think, we'll take tomorrow and look at a lot of things and see if we can get those guys back. But the one thing I've really enjoyed about Jackson, Marty, Coop, Book, they've all kind of pulled for one another, and last year, in my own mind, Jackson was trying to find himself here, coming from Utah. Those players have done to him what I think they did to Steven. I get mad at my team for a lot of things, but I really got good guys that care about each other, and that's going to go a long way. I just need guys that'll confront each other now. If we get some of that, we're going to start building a little bit more. One more?
Yeah,
Eddie?
hi. You have mentioned that consistency has been an issue with this team this season. What do you think what's it going to take to get you guys to be able to build off this effort and kind of continue on and find that consistent play that you guys are looking for?
Well, I think it's the one disappointing thing, right? Because consistency should happen with veterans. But, I always make excuses, I'm sure, to most people. But, I even look at Malik, I look at Jackson now. When you have 9 weeks off, just look at the NBA. I mean, you followed it, you worked it. Guys get 9 weeks off, they take another 4 weeks to get back to normal, you want a lot out of Malik, but, he had an injury-filled junior year, and then he was out 5 months, and I just don't think we're just, and AJ's been good. I mean, I don't feel any different, and I pulled him in a minute and a half in the second half. I don't feel any different about what I told you last week. I mean, I just want to make sure that it doesn't go back the other way, because he was a lot better the second half. And why the first half, I don't know. I mean, he's not trying to miss layups. He's fumbled about 6 of them in the last 2 games, But his attitude, his demeanor with the rest of the guys has been awesome. I just think we need a little confidence. I think we've been rocked a little bit, when social media doesn't bother me because I don't read it. But it does bother them. And I think people, I understand it. I understand the frustration of the fan, the gamblers. I understand it all. But I still say, whether we think so or not, everybody's fragile nowadays. Everybody is, everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be cared about. And, the nice thing about not being on Twitter, I don't know if I am or I'm not. But when I lose, I'm educated enough to know I'm not. When I win, I'm educated enough to know I might be. So I just look at it like that and try to help those guys get through it. And, and you know what else? The last thing, we played some good teams that are good too. And nobody's young anymore. Nobody's young. So what used to be your advantage is not necessarily an advantage anymore because everybody's old. Nobody's playing freshmen. Most of these programs aren't even recruiting freshmen. So it's just a different adjustment, and maybe I've done a poor job of it. Maybe I've done a good job of it. I'm going to keep working at it. And I do think that this team has enough that if we can continually grow a little bit here, get some confidence, win some games, that we just might win more than some people thought. Thanks a lot to everybody.